Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I thought we would take a look at some older palettes and discuss if they were released today, would I still buy them? So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Okay, so I actually saw Angelica Nyqvist do this video recently, so I will of course leave her video link down below, but I thought I would look through my own collection, and at first I almost didn't because when I chose to do this one, I decided I was only going to look at palettes that I purchased in 2020 and before. So nothing that I purchased in 2021, nothing I have purchased this year, just those older palettes, because as we know, our tastes change over time, and especially when I look back, I was initially just pulling out all of these neutral palettes and I thought this is going to be the most boring video ever. I am still obsessed with neutrals, but I do branch out into a little bit more color. I do branch into pinks and purples, sometimes greens, and that's not something I used to do. So at first I thought this video was going to be terribly boring, but I did end up finding some good palettes to talk about. So let's just hop right into it. The first one I pulled out was the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. 1000% yes, I would buy this if it came out today. This is one I still love, I still reach for. This one I feel was a bit ahead of its time. It's a cooler tone palette that came out when cool tones weren't huge yet, and that is why everybody went nuts for this. And it's still so beautiful. It's the really good ABH quality in here. It's such a beautiful palette. I love this for every day, for glam occasions. This is just a really, really great palette. I have never created a look with this palette that I did not like. And this packaging, I really wish they would bring back this packaging. I'm glad we haven't seen their velvet packaging in a while. I like that, but it does get dirty so easily. The newest packaging they had on their Primrose palette was also very pretty. But if every palette looked like this on the outside, yes, that is what they should be doing. I'm just saying, as somebody who will buy stuff for packaging, I would buy that. Let's talk about one I would buy if it came out now. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam Palette. So this palette is a classic for a reason. It is so easy to use. It is the perfect neutral palette with the perfect shimmers, and this is really just one of those palettes I feel that is appropriate for a lot of different people, a lot of different makeup tastes. I just feel like I can create such an everyday look with this one, but also I can go very glam with it, and I love that too. And I like this. It's an easy palette to use, and obviously I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I have gotten a lot of use out of this guy, and I love her so much. So I would absolutely buy Soft Glam. This is definitely still a color story that speaks to me. I mean, it does have these neutral browns, but then you also have this like dusty rose color here and this rose pink that, you know, allow you to go more toward that rosy area, and rosy shadows are really big right now. You know, if you want to deepen it up with a nice berry, you can do that. If you want to just keep it very neutral, maybe golden, you can do that too. And it's just, I feel like this one has really stood the test of time. I absolutely would purchase this. If another brand released a palette in a similar color store, I'd probably buy it too. Let's talk about Too Faced for a second. This is their Pumpkin Spice palette. So this one was released in 2020 as their fall launch. I bought this because, first of all, a little bit of nostalgia. I love the fall so much. So something that has gone this hardcore on the fall colors and the fall theme, I was like, yeah, I obviously need that. And I like this, but I find the shimmers to be quite dry. I do still play with this from time to time, especially in the fall, but the shimmers in this palette, particularly the purples, are just quite dry, and I find them all a little bit on the chunky side. The mattes are perfectly fine, but it's just the shimmers that I don't super love. I do really like that This side is those deeper, darker tones, and then this side it's a little bit softer. I like that, so you can choose to stay on one side or you can bounce between the two. I just don't love the formula in here, so even though I love the theme of the palette, the color story of this is literally how I describe the types of shadows I use. You get some browns, some pinks, some purples, and a little bit of green. That's literally what I like to wear on my eyes. So I would definitely say that this color story is beautiful. I do love that. And I love the fall theme. I love the pumpkin spice theme. The only thing I wish is that it was from a different brand. And I only say that because Too Faced formula is so inconsistent. Sometimes they hit us with a palette that is phenomenal. And then sometimes you get a palette and you're like, this isn't it. You know, so knowing what I know now about Too Faced and their inconsistencies, I wouldn't buy this. I didn't buy the Cinnamon Swirl palette back in the fall. I probably will not buy this year's, whatever it's going to be. I always want to, but what I know about their formula, I wouldn't do it again. Okay, we have some Natasha Denona. She had some good releases in 2020. I do have the Love palette from 2019, but I only purchased that last year, so I'm not going to talk about it today. The first one I do want to talk about is the Bronze palette, though. So this was actually my very first Natasha Denona midi palette, and I love this because of the range of browns and bronzes in here. I do think it's really, really beautiful. Would I buy it today? Yeah, I would, because I try to cover as much Natasha Denona as I can here on my channel, but I'm also just a really big fan of her formula, so I probably would buy this. I don't love that you don't really get a range in here of looks that you want to try to create. They all do really tend to look pretty similar. But overall, I do love this palette. I feel like you can tell she's well loved. She's been dropped a time or two, but I would purchase this one again. I really would. We have two palettes left. The first one is another Revolution palette. And I am such a big fan of Friends. So I did pick up their first release. So they have since done like round 2, round 3 of the Friends collaborations, and because I picked up some palettes from the first round, I did not fall for it the times after. So this is the one with, and this is Giant. I also did pick up the Phoebe, Rachel, and Monica palettes. So this is obviously a colorful palette. You get a ton of shades. You do get a huge mirror. And then you get these 3 what I think are supposed to be face highlights. And I was really excited at the concept, but again, Revolution's formula is just not that great, and I feel like they didn't do Friends justice. I feel like they just threw the names down and said just throw in a color wherever. You know, I don't feel like they thought it out the most. I just don't feel like there was a ton of thought put into it. And like Fun Bobby, I don't think he was the most fun character, but why was he like, why give him a neutral rose gold? Like, shouldn't he have been like bright orange? I don't know. Just in my opinion, I don't feel like they really did it justice. This is not a terrible formula, but again, I don't like the Revolution formula, and I don't feel like they thought out the palettes really well. Even looking at the smaller palettes that I have, the 9 pans, the formula in those isn't fantastic, and the color stories just don't fit the girls, to be honest. So honestly, I don't think I would purchase the Friends collab knowing what I know. If ColourPop did a Friends collab, absolutely I would order it, because I would know the formula is going to be good. I feel like ColourPop would have put a little bit more thought into it. I do know that ColourPop just mass predicts this and drives everybody crazy, but yeah, I think I would purchase it if ColourPop released it. But I mean, I'm not going to get excited about a collab from Makeup Revolution, because I just don't feel like they put the time in to create the best collaboration. Sometimes maybe they do. I'm just speaking obviously from what I've tried, and I don't love them the most. So that's what I would say. I just don't feel like they put enough thought in. But so no, I probably would not pick up that one now. And the last palette we're going to talk about is also from Natasha Denona, and it is the Glam Palette. Yes, 100% I would pick this up today. Is this among her more boring palettes? Yeah. It totally is. But that's what I like about it. I like how wearable it is. I like how easy it is. I just like the simplicity of it. Knowing that you're going to get a beautiful look no matter what you do, I would definitely pick this up. And her formula is obviously one of the very, very best on the market. So of course I would pick up the Glam Palette. And that is it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you have any of these palettes, if you agree with me on any of these. Maybe you don't. But let me know down below. Thank you so very much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. And that's it for me today. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!